I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube, Jules Sage, joined by the author of the Dark Shadows Daybook, my buddy Patrick McCray is here. We're here to continue 1841 Parallel Time, episode 1238. Grayson Hall narrates this episode. I will say this, Patrick, and I want to get your thoughts on this right away. I feel Grayson is more of a heel a bit here in this episode.
She's a terrible human being in this episode. It's very hard to be sympathetic with her on any level.
Yeah.
She is oppressive. She is cruel. She is exercising power, but pretending that she's doing it in the name of helping others, which is just one of the worst things a person can do. And making a convincing case of it. You know, Abigail does that, but no one believes her.
Yeah.
However, Crazy does it, and we have to believe it.
Yeah. I think the thing here with Grayson's character with Julia Collins, where she has her selling point is more of a natural selling point of this will upset Flora.
Yeah.
And Flora has, up to this point, she's been through a lot too. To be fair, she lost her husband. She lost her husband. She's buried a son, and it's not. And here's Melanie, who she's treated like a daughter. Now she knows that Melanie is somebody who she cares for, but she doesn't. Julia's trying to protect Flora from this secret of it being Justin and Josette's baby, that Melanie is their daughter. She's trying to protect Flora from the scandal of it all.
Yes.
But the way she comes off with it is just so cold.
Yeah, it's she loses any sympathy whatsoever the audience might have with her because of how she chooses to do that. And I get the idea that maybe she's sitting here thinking, you stuck me with this kid for God knows how long, and now you want to waltz back in and be number one mom of the year. And I'm sorry they told you you'd be poor, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sorry you listened to a family that wanted to take care of your child when you could not. But that's the way things are. And now you want all of the credit while we did all of the work. God, it must be nice. You're not still Princess Josette. This is not Martinique. Andre is not around. The Countess is not around, and God knows Barnabas is not around. So grow up.
Yeah, it really, again, 1841 is packed full of adult moments, and this is another one of those adult written episodes where you're getting into right. It's the maturity of the content, because you're dealing with not just a scandal, but the fact that you hear it from Josette herself as well, that she was very much alone, that Justin went with her, he felt sorry for her, and they made love. And she tried to hide the fact of a child from Justin until he found out about it. And really, Julia Collins found out about Melanie by accident, really.
Yes.
So, I mean, you learn a lot in this episode of how things went down, which is great. And you're getting some conclusions in this episode. Now, you're not getting the full wrap up. We're going to get that here by the end. But what you're getting is you're getting Melanie's mother has been revealed, Josette. You also get the death of Daphne in this very episode, which was, by the way, great acting by Kate Jackson. Just great acting all around. I mean, Mary, Mary does a good job as Josette. Grayson as Julia, and Melanie, Nancy Barrett, Melanie, and John Carlin as Kendrick. It's all clicking on all cylinders. Jonathan Fridd as Bramwell. Really, really well done. What did you think of Daphne's she gets out of the coma, but she ends up dying anyway. What did you think of her death in this episode?
Well, I mean, it's very sad. It's very noble. However, watching it now kind of makes me wish that they had. Pardon me, I have to hear something. Makes me wish that they had made her a little more resistant to Zen wisdom prior to this.
Yeah.
She is, you know, because there's no conflict. You know, the conflict is sitting around watching Bromwell look guilt-stricken.
Yeah.
And we've seen that for about, 78, 79 episodes. So it's a little old.
Yeah.
And so there's the problem is, I mean, the dialogue is well written.
Yep.
However, what's going on in the dialogue is, and I love, Gordon and Sam, they're great, but even they had to kind of stretch things out. And it's almost as if they wrote all of the last 983 Daphne scenes where she's been dying. It's almost as if they wrote those thinking, oh man, Dan just pulled the plug. This is the last episode. We've got to we've got to have everyone really resolve their emotional issues with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not canceled yet. No. Okay, we'll resolve the emotional issues again and again and again and again and again and again. And the problem is that as I watched this, I personally didn't feel like there was anything really new.
Yeah.
It was old stuff, very well rendered, very well illustrated, but they had kind of gone there. They had kind of gone there.
Yeah. I think something they could have done in this episode is have Daphne's funeral as well. I think that's something they could have done as well. I mean,
would you have done that before she died?
No.
So that she would have been said, no, I'm alive. Stop. I'm getting out of the coffin and going back up to her bedroom, and they would drag her back, put her in the coffin, and say, yeah, we got a great eulogy, and the caterers are going to leave, and this is it. So Daphne, work with us. Just lie there and let us say nice. Oh God, really, Bromwell? Oh.
No, I would have had them kill her off in this episode, but have the funeral sequence, have Catherine in this episode, have Laura Parker in this episode, and have a little something extra spicy. Have Morgan in this episode too, and have a conflict at the funeral.
Like Morgan's not gonna pay for the casket all of a sudden, but they already got the nicest one delivered, and so they're demanding payment, and they're going to take the casket back, and so suddenly someone has to build a new casket, and Morgan's going, no, I'm not going to pay, and here's Bromwell with a hammer and nail banging loudly with Kendrick, building the damn thing as they're trying to deliver a heartfelt eulogy, and they tell be quiet. And Morgan says, I won't be quiet. We're not talking to you, Morgan. You need to go pay off. Well, I'm not going to pay. Listen, I'm trying to deliver a eulogy here. Can you let me? Like that?
No, I would have. I love what you just said, but no, I would have Keith Prentice. I would have had Keith Prentice walk right up to Bramwell. Morgan walk up to Bramwell and say, just because you lost the woman you happened to marry out of jealousy, it doesn't mean you get my wife now, Bramwell. And I think I could see Sam and Gordon doing something like that.
Oh, I thought of something far darker, but I
go ahead.
No, I would get in trouble. Like no one would ever buy any Dark Shadows Daybook oriented T-shirt or frisbee ever again. But it's terrible. I may message you with it.
Okay. Message me after we're done here. But I really think they could have pulled that off in this episode. I know it might sound like rushing it a bit because she does just die in this episode, but I feel they could have either that or this could have been a two-parter, this and then the next episode, because it's not. They're individual episodes now. There's no more two-parters. And I think they could have pulled that off where there should have been a two-parter and have Daphne's funeral just in the next episode, have her funeral and have a confrontation between Morgan and Bramwell where Morgan's telling Bramwell, "You're not getting my wife over my dead body."
Yeah. Okay. Now, Jewel, don't say it out loud. I just want to see your reaction. Check the chat conversation. And don't say it out loud. That would have been horrible to have a funeral sequence.
Yeah, that would have. Oh my god, that was so good. Yeah, we can't say that on it. No.
I told you.
No.
Turnabout's fair play.
No, nobody will ever hear that. Anyway, what's something you would have changed about this episode?
Well, I just wrote it to you.
Oh,
no, that's horrible. What would I have changed about this episode?
Yeah.
I would have two things.
Okay.
It would have had to have been set up in many previous episodes, but I would have had Daphne be resistant to giving Bramwell permission to pursue this relationship with Catherine. So there'd be some suspense. So there'd be something new that would come out of this tragedy. Mm-hmm. The other thing, and I thought they were going to do it, and they didn't. As Daphne is dying, she's just said something, and it's almost like maybe she's going to say something more. Yeah. And then instead she closes her eyes and dies. I would have had that dramatic pause happen. I'm very serious. And I would have had it be one of the deaths where the departed's eyes stay open.
Yeah.
And so Bramwell just suddenly comes to this realization of, oh my God, she's gone.
Yeah.
But he can't quite shut her eyes yet.
Yeah. She dies with her eyes open. It would have been a neat effect.
Yeah.
It would have been, yeah. I like that a lot. I think, too, there's an episode where Kate Jackson's character thinks about shooting herself. Now, they did, instead of having shoot herself, maybe point the gun at Bramwell and say, "You married me, not my sister. You wanted me to marry you. You asked me." Yeah. Now you can't say "God damn it," but you can say, "No, either it's going to be me or nothing at all." And that's something you could have done.
You could have, or she could have said, "Bramwell, I know that you're Superman, and I know that if I shoot you with this gun, nothing will happen." And Bramwell says, "Don't," and she pulls the trigger, and it bounces off his chest. And he looks, and he opens up his shirt, and there's the big S, and for Stokes, and he would have said, "Did you really know I was Superman?" She said, "Not at all." And they're horrified, and then she does. Because we all thought it was Selby. Yeah. We all thought it was Selby. And that's what the S really is for Selby.
Or if she goes to shoot him, Quentin, David Selby comes in the Superman outfit and goes, "No, I'm Superman."
Does anyone have a spare appendix? I'm in a lot of pain right now. I could use some painkillers, but I'm picked up.
Yeah. I really did. I love Grayson Hall in this episode. She's a bit of a mess. And she does a really good, because that's the thing to for people who will go back and watch this, and if they specifically watch this episode, there's no Morgan. There is Bramwell, but he's not being an antagonist or anything. There's no other antagonist. So here's Grayson Hall. She knows how to be both, and she does a hell of a job carrying the episode, sort of being the antagonist.
Yeah, she's very good. Let's face it.
Yeah. What's your favorite scene in this episode?
I mean, just the immensely emotionally satisfying stuff. Seeing her reunited with her mom, or united with her mom, really, not reunited.
Yeah.
Uh, because it feels so good. Reunited because she understood, just like Peaches and Herb tried to tell us.
Yeah. I love that we get. I do love the reuniting of the mom and the daughter, but I love the interaction between Grace and Jo, Julia, Josette, and Melanie. Really,
Yeah,
really great scenes. And real again, we've talked about 1841 being the most adult arc, and it just is. It's just it hits you with a lot of adult, mature content that's right in your face. It makes
yeah,
no effort to hide it. And again, in this episode, though you don't see Flora, what I love what Grayson does most is not just yes by mentioning her name, you feel Flora's presence in this episode a lot,
you do.
which I love. I think that's again Grayson. Joan Bennett's going to be back. She's going to be in other episodes, but she's not in this episode. But you feel her character's presence with what Grayson Hall does, and the fact that the writers wrote it, but Grayson sells it home. And I think
Yes.
also too, give credit. I'll give a lot of credit to Mary Cooper and Nancy Bird as well because they saw it too. They sort of they get what Julia is telling them, but they're also against what she's telling them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very sophisticated emotional line that they have to tote, and I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The writers and actors did a really good job of towing their lines and making sure they're selling the people who aren't there, not just the people who are. Dark Shadows was so especially good at this.
I agree.
It's just an amazing episode. Um, we do get a bit of Kendrick in this episode, not a lot of him. I feel a bit that he's wasted in this episode, not completely, but I just wish they did a little more. I love the interaction between Grayson and Grayson Hall, John Carlin, and John Car. She's like, because he's the reason this has happened, and she's sort of like, "Oh, you want to read some more dirty secrets?" I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
And it's like,
but
yes, I do.
yeah,
Yes, thank you.
yeah, he'd be more than happy to. But I love what he says too. He goes the truth should be known. He goes, there's no shame in the. It's really you've talked about how it takes outsiders to sort of fix Collinwood,
Yeah.
and really you really get that sense with Kendrick that he is determined to help the Collins family.
It is a crusade.
It is, yeah, I agree. Is there anything you want to add about episode 1238?
No, what do we have? Six more.
Yeah, I know.
So after we do the next episode, it is really the last week, and the week is such an important structure. In fact, I'm curious about something. I'm going to look something up that I'm curious about. Let's see. Um, April 11, 1971. Because I believe that's when the last episode was, wasn't it? Or when did the last episode air?
Oh,
I thought it was April 11th, but I might have been wrong. It might have been like April 2nd. Yeah, it was April 2nd, and it was a Friday. Okay, so it's exact. So the next episode should be interesting because they'll end it on a bigger cliffhanger than normal for the weekend,
yeah,
and then we've got that last week.
yeah. I think if you go back to anybody who's gonna go back and watch our episode here, go back and watch this podcast episode here. Go back at least two episode and watch Morgan he slowly starts to go mad. His hint of turning mad is in prior 2 episodes ago, where he comes out the room and he's confronting Catherine about if Daphne dies, Bramwell will be available again. So it's starting to turn. But it's gonna be a full-on turn here soon.
Jewel, what's interesting is if you go back to, if you use the website onthisday.com,
Yeah.
which helps me a lot with the day book. If you look at this for April 2nd, 1971, the very first historical event. There are only 2 historical events for that day. The very first one is Dark Shadows, American Gothic Supernatural Soap Opera, concludes an almost 5-year run on ABC. That's very moving. That's very profound. So this would have been, what day would this have been? So if that's April 2nd, this was when? This would have been the 26th.
Give me 1 second. It aired March 24th, 1971.
March 24th, 1971. Yeah. Interesting. What day of the week was that?
Hold on. That just
March 24th. This was on a Wednesday.
Episode March 24th. Doesn't say.
Did it film or was it aired?
I put air and it came up March 24th.
Okay.
So
okay. I don't know if that. Well, yeah, I think it's March 25th because there's one more episode, because there's 6 more episodes, right?
Yeah.
So it would have had to have been the 25th. I think the wiki's wrong.
I think so.
I don't want to besmirch their, but I think I'm going to look this up because I want to see it. This is important history for us, and it really is pursuant to what we're talking about. This is episode 1238.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Well, let's see what they have to say for themselves. Okay. It was filmed on the 13th. They claim it was broadcast Wednesday. So, okay. 1239 was broadcast on the 25th. Maybe my math is wrong. 1240 was on the 26th. Okay, yeah, my math is terrible. That does make sense. This was a Wednesday episode.
So it was on the 24th. So they got it.
They got 2 more episodes of this week.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then we're into the big final 5.
I know. I'm excited, Patrick.
I am too. Now you'll be sad to know that in the episode after next, it will be the final time an episode is narrated by Laura Parker.
Yeah, that's true. That sucks.
It will be the final mention of Clinton's whereabouts. He is said to be in Boston and won't be back in Fallinsport until Monday. No. So he's unable to participate in the lottery. Ah, shucks. I'm sure his character is saying, "Oh, I'd love to be there, but I'm going to a game in Boston."
Yeah, we're going to talk about how in tomorrow night's podcast. You're free tomorrow night, right? You good?
I am.
Okay, so we'll do this at 11 p.m. I'll give you some more time. If that's okay with you.
That helps.
Okay. But yeah, really, we're going to talk about Quentin, how they wrote Quentin off. I really like what the writers did, but this was just another fabulous episode, really well written. Guys, if you have not checked out any of the 1841 arc yet, go to Tubi and get started on this bad boy. It is a can't miss.
Well, Tubi or not Tubi,
yeah.
I mean, that's the question. They can also see it on Amazon.
Yep. Yep. On Amazon as well. Or if you're like me and Patrick and you own the Coffin box set and you want to pull out that bad boy, go ahead.
Yes.
Mine is in with my DVDs. It is the whole. I gotta resort them things. Anyway, Patrick, my friend, it is always a pleasure. I will see you tomorrow night for episode 1239. Link to the Dark Shadows Daybook Unbound is going to be in the description box, guys. Go pick that bad boy up. Have a good night, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.